Hi guys, so today we're going to be looking at how we can use prime factor decomposition to find the highest common factor and the lowest common multiple of a pair of numbers. Okay, so first thing I want to do is just look at how we do find highest common factor and lowest common multiple and what that actually means. So if we were trying to find it for 9 and 12, we start by writing down the factors of each number. So 1 goes in 9 times, 2 doesn't go, 3 goes in 3 times, 4 doesn't go, so I move on to 12. 1 goes in 12 times, goes in 6 times, 3 goes in 4 times, 4 we've just seen, and 5 doesn't go. So there's our factors. Now to find the highest common factor, all we're doing is looking for the biggest number that appears in each set of factors. So we've got 3 there and 3 there, so our highest common factor is 3. And to find the lowest common multiple, previously we might have been shown just to write out the times table. So we do 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, and then if we start looking at 12, 24, 36. Already I've spotted my lowest common multiple that appears in both times tables. We've got 36. So that would be our lowest common multiple for the pair of numbers, and we'd be sorted. But what if the numbers get bigger? Okay. Sometimes it gets difficult to write out the times table, and it'd be difficult to write out all the list of factors. So we need to use a different method to help us find it for bigger numbers, and that's where prime factor decomposition comes in. So say we had 24 and 180. Well, all we do is start by breaking it down into the product of its prime factors. So we do our prime factor decomposition. Now, if you need a bit of a reminder, go back to the other video on that. But I'm going to go through these a bit quicker just for the sake of time so we can get onto finding the highest common factor and the lowest common multiple. So for 24, we break it down into 2 and 12. 12 goes to 2 and 6 goes to 2 and 3. So again, I'm going to circle all my prime factors in red. And then for 180, I can divide that by 2 because it's even. 280 goes 90 times. 90 divided by 2 is 45. 2 doesn't go into 45, but I know that 3 goes. So 3 goes in 15 times. 15 divided by 3 is 5. And there we go. I've got all my prime factors for that one. So next step I'm going to do, guys, is write out each number as a product of its prime factors. So 24 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. And 180 is 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. Now in the last video I showed you to simplify these by collecting all the like terms, so we just write 2 cubed. But in this video we're going to leave them individually as a list because we're going to need to cross them off, so it'll let us see easier what we've got rid of, what we've got left. So for the highest common factor, we'll always find this one first, and we're looking for the numbers that appear in both lists of prime factors. So in 24 we've got a 2, and in 180 we've got a 2. So that pair of 2's there equates to 1, 2 as a factor in our highest common factor. Okay, going to look at the next number in 24. That's 2, and again it appears in 180. So I'm multiplying that first 2 we found by another 2. I've got another 2 in 24, but I don't have another one in 180, so I skip that one to the last number, and that's 3, and there is a 3 in 180. So that pair of 3's makes that 3, and that's all my prime factors that the two numbers have in common that make my highest common factor. So all I do now is just multiply these together, and that gets me 12. So the highest common factor is 12. How do we find out the lowest common multiple? Well, we're going to write down LCM, and we know that the first factor is going to be 12. Okay. Now to find the rest of it, all we're doing is looking for the numbers that weren't used to find the highest common factor. So I'm going to multiply it by the 2 that's left in 24, and the 3 and the 5 that are left in 180. So my lowest common multiple is 12 times 2 times 3 times 5. Now, for sake of time, I'm just going to do this on my calculator. You can work it out if you want to. And that gets us 360. And last thing we want to do, guys, is just check that that is a multiple of 2480. Okay, don't want to trip ourselves up. So we do a double check. 360 divided by 24, 15. Yep, that goes. And 180, that goes as well. Okay. So let's have a look at another one. So if we had 45 and 96, so we saw it in the last one, 45 we could divide by 3 and we get 15. 15 we can divide by 3 and get 5, and that's our prime factors for that one. And then 96, it's even, we can divide by 2 and get 48. 48 divided by 2 is 24. 24 divided by 2 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. So we've got a lot of 2's in that one. And just write out each number as the product of its prime factors. So 45 equals 3 times 5. And 96 equals 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. Okay. Now, highest common factor, same again. So looking for the numbers that appear in both, we've got a 3 in 45 and a 3 in 96. Got another 3 in 45. We don't have another 3 in 96, and there's actually no numbers bigger than 3 in 96 as a prime factor. So this 5 we know won't go, and we know that none of these 2's will match up. So the highest common factor of 45 and 96 is actually just 3 here. Okay. So for the lowest common multiple, that's going to be equal to the 3, the highest common factor, multiplied by everything that's left. So we've got a 3, a 5, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2's. So I'm just going to write that here as 2 to the power of 5, simplify it, and then put that in my calculator. So I've got 3 times 5 times 2 to the power of 5, and that gives me 1,440. And then just as a double check, 1,440 divided by 45, 32, that goes. And divided by 96, 15, that goes as well. Okay. So what I want you to do now, guys, on your own, pause the video, find the highest common factor and the lowest common multiple of 42 and 108, and then of 72 and 207. Okay, so just pause the video now and have a go at those. Okay. So 42, I know that 2 goes into that, and I know it goes in 21 times. 21 I can divide by 3, and that gets me 7. So that's my prime factors there. Then 108, it's even, so I can divide it by 2, and that gets me 54. 54 divided by 2 is 27. 27, can't divide it by 2, but divide it by 3, I get 9. And then 9 I know it splits into 3 and 3. Okay, so 42 equals 2 times 3 times 7, and 108 equals 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. So our highest common factor, we've got a 2 in 42 and a 2 in 108. We've got a 3 in 42 and a 3 in 108. And we've got a 7 in 42, but we don't have 1 in 108. So that's our highest common factor sorted. We've just got to do 2 times 3, which is 6. And then lastly, lowest common multiple. Well, we know it's the highest common factor multiplied by everything that's left. So multiplying it by 7, 2, and then 2 3's. So I'm just going to put that in my calculator. 6 times 7 times 2 times 3 squared, 756. And then I'm just going to do my check. 756 divided by 42 is 18. And 756 divided by 108 is 7. Yep, those both go in. So well, if you got that one right. Moving on to 72 and 207. 72 is even, can divide it by 2. That gets me 36. 36 divided by 2 is 18. 18 divided by 2 is 9. And 9 splits into 3 and 3. And then 207. Now, bigger number here. I know 2 won't go because it's not even, so I'm going to have a look at dividing it by 3. So 3 to 2 doesn't go. 3 into 20 goes 6 times, remainder 2. 3 into 27 goes 9 times. So I can divide 207 by 3, and it gives me 69. And I can divide 69 by 3 because I know that 3 goes into 60, and 3 goes into 9. So 3 into 69, it goes 23 times. And there's my prime factors for that one. I know that 23 is prime. There's no numbers that go into it other than 1 in itself. So I'm going to circle all those and write them out. So we've got 72 equals 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. And 207 equals 3 times 3 times 23. So highest common factor. 2 appears in 72, but it doesn't appear in 207. 3 does appear in 207. And we've got another 3 there and another 3 there. And that's all our common factors, common prime factors. So our highest common factor is just 9. And then the lowest common multiple is our highest common factor, which is 9, multiplied by 2 times 2 times 2. I'm going to write that as 2 cubed. And the 23 that was left in 207. And that's going to give us 9 times 2 cubed times 23 equals 1,656. And we'll just double check that. 1656 divided by 72 is 23, that goes. And 207 is 8, that goes as well. So you can see there, guys, that two numbers that are quite far apart and don't have many numbers in common, you get quite a high lowest common multiple, or quite a big lowest common multiple. Okay. So I hope you found that useful today, guys. Hopefully you've understood how to find highest common factor and lowest common multiple using prime factor decomposition. Okay, you'll be able to use it in future. Thanks for watching.